Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and it is time for a monthly TBR. I love these videos. They're so much fun, usually. However, I've already done my rolls for today, and y'all are going to see things did not go the way they should have today.
So, this is Editing Amanda here to say that the audio is weird. I know you've already noticed, and I'm sorry. I did not want to lose the real-time reactions and the real-time picks that I had already recorded and go back and do it again. So we're going to bumble our way through this one, and I promise that I will double check and make sure the microphone is all plugged in and ready to go the next time I film. Sorry.
First of all, I'm going to apologize ahead of time for the dice. I'm using my son's dice, and they're very orange, and so sometimes it's hard to see the numbers. So hopefully on the rolls you can see them. We'll find out together in a second when I start editing this, but hopefully you can see them. So first, let's talk about the game and what we're doing. So I have a Bookopoly board in my bullet journal that I created, I don't know, at the end of last year, I think. If you missed that video where I set it up and all of that, I will link that up in the cards, and you can go check it out and see what it's about. But it's pretty self-explanatory as we go along. I am working on switching it up because I would rather have, I want all the squares, like the whole page, to be covered in squares. I'll show you. This is like a sneak peek to the beginning of a game that I'm creating for myself. So far it all just looks like this. But I want to make it kind of my own. So there's going to be pitfalls, and there's going to be things that move me back and forth. There's also going to be things that give me jumps ahead. I'm coming up with the whole thing. It's going to be a mixture of a lot of different games, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Okay, my rules for this are, I roll for 5 books, and I only have to roll extras if I go to jail or if I roll a double. That comes into play today, so I'm just telling you the rules up front specifically about that. 5 books is what I'm supposed to end up with. So before we jump into those, let's talk about the ones that I am reading this month and hoping to get on my list. So first of all, over on my Discord, if you guys have not been there, the link is down below. We have decided beginning in March that we're going to do a book together over there. So a few of us submitted some books, and we put it on a wheel and we spun. Now the first book that we came up with, or that stopped on the wheel, was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Now the problem is that this book is not easily available for everybody because it's still so popular. So we decided to push that to April so that people had plenty of time to get the book from their library. And so in March we're doing Station 11. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is going to be April's book on the Discord, and Station 11 is the book for March. So I've heard good things about this. It's supposed to be dystopian, which is my favorite buzzword. So this I'm excited about. And we're just going to have we're not reading it at a certain time, just any time during March, and we're going to have just a little chat space over there where we can talk about the book that we're reading. Then I also need to read 3 of these. These are the last 6 books that our team is reading for the self-published sci-fi competition. I know I'm starting with this one to kind of give me a quick win, because not only is it the shortest, but the words are the biggest on the page. So I will be starting with this Audacity. I don't know anything about these books, so it's going to be hard for me to fit them in to categories, but we'll see. I'm still going to try, because I've got to read 3 of them this month, and then 3 of them in April. And then I have the Bone Season, which is book 1 of that series. I read the book .5, The Pale Dreamer, this month. So I'm excited to get into the actual storyline and see what's going on with that. So I do have the Bone Season. And then another buddy read, I'm doing The Body Is Not an Apology. I'm doing this with Sandy at Miss Reads a Lot. It is not a long book. It's pretty thin. And so I am excited to get into it and talk about it with Sandy. We read The F-It Diet this month together, and so we're going to be picking that up next month. Okay, I looked through the sci-fi books, and I decided to go with 1 shortish one and 1 long one for this month, in addition to the Audacity. And then that way next month I have 2 kind of bigs and a small. So we'll see. I don't know. They're all roughly the same page count. They're not that big. They're definitely not as big as a couple of them that we had to read in our last round. So anyway, I'm excited about those. So that's it. Let's get into the game. I didn't tell you this part, but the reason the bookshelves look different back there is because I went through and took out all the books that I want to read and all the books that people mentioned in the comments of my physical bookshelf thing, and I have them all down here. And so I'm going to also be working from this group as well when I have to get physical books. Okay, let's go.
Roll number 1. 7.
Okay, so I got a 7, and that moved me around to the Hey Reader thing on the board. And I'll show you what the Hey Reader prompt means. Okay, so Hey Reader is a TBR generator. And so when we go there, you can tell it what you want it to do. We want to get a random prompt. So you can pick a card or spin a wheel. I'm going to pick a card, and whatever card I get, I need to try to find a book with that prompt. I'm going to start with the physical books that I own, and then I'll go to the books on my story graph, translated from a different language. Okay, so I went and looked up. I want to also participate in the middle grade march that's happening in March, reading more middle grades. I love middle grade, specifically historical fiction and fantasy, but they're my favorite genres in middle grade. Anyway, I went and looked over there, and I saw that The Little Prince is a translated work, and I was like, oh, people talk about this all the time. I don't know that it's middle grade. On Goodreads, it's listed as children and young adult. So maybe in between there is middle grade, and maybe that qualifies. However, as I was looking at the list of translated works, The Shadow of the Wind was on there by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and I own it. I'm trying to get through more of my physical copies, and Amy from A Star Reads loves this book. So this may be what I go with. However, it is thick and the words are small, so I may end up going with one of the middle grade books if I need something smaller. But for now, this is the one I'm going to go with. I can't believe that I forgot a couple of things before we continue on. Number 1, I forgot we're reading Grave Peril in the Dresden Read Along. That's all we're reading for the month of March. No graphic novels, no short stories, just the next novel, Grave Peril. Also, Andrew and I have decided to pause our Robin Hobb reading. If you missed the update about that, I will post it. I'll put it up in the cards, actually, where I talked about that last book that we read. And we're going to be starting Stephen King books. Now, both of us want to read everything in his catalog, so that's what we're going to be starting. And the first one we're starting with, which we'll be reading some of it in February, so maybe it'll already be finished by March, and we'll go on to the next one on the list. But we're starting with Full Dark, No Stars, which is a short story collection. So that's where we're starting, and then I'll just update as we read through the Stephen King. But really, my Buddy Read with Andrew is just Stephen King. So I'm not really going to put those on the list, because depending on what's available and what we can both get is going to determine what we read, like what we read next. So I won't be able to put those on the TBR, so that doesn't matter as much, but I will be reading those in the background with Andrew. Okay, that was the Hey Reader prompt. Number 2. Another 7. Okay, I ended up in jail, so I have to add one more roll. So we're going to be doing 6 instead of 5. So roll number 2 still is 7 again in a different way. That is so weird. So after 2 more rolls of 7 and landing in jail and getting an extra book, we're now up to 6 books. I landed on Chance, and Chance means a book off my physical shelf. So I'm gonna do randomized with my phone, and I'll be back when I get the book. So I got this bookshelf over here, and the book is Before She Was Helen by Caroline Tooney. She has a middle initial, but I don't know what it is because the Ollie's sticker is covering it up. Anyway, I got this from Ollie's, and it's pretty short. Mystery. Sounds good to me. One more book off my shelf. Okay, that's my Chance book. Roll number 3. 7. What in the world? Okay, so this time I landed on poetry. And what that means is I come over here to Storygraph after I sign in. I love how it says, you're already signed in. Okay, well, you're the one that told me I needed to. Anyway, I go to my search and filter for my to be read pile, and I filter only poetry. And according to my list, I have 21 books in poetry. So I pick whatever the top one is. 12 books, not 21. That's it. Nature Poem, 128 pages by Tommy Pico. This came from a Digithon recommendations from Native Lady Book Warrior, her channel. And it says, Nature Poem follows Teebs, a young queer American Indian or Indian poet who can't bring himself to write a nature poem. For the reservation-born, urban-dwelling hipster, the exercise feels stereotypical, reductive, and boring. He hates nature. He prefers city lights to the night sky, and he'd slap a tree across the face. Okay, that sounds like it's going to be good, but this one I have to find. It says it was first published in 2017, so I'm going to be reading Nature Poem by Tommy Pico. Okay, let's hope I don't get a 7 again. 7! What? I mean, it doesn't matter. I just didn't want to roll a 7 again. Okay, so it landed on a 4, and what that means is I go to my story graph and I just get the 4th book. No filters on, all of the books. The 4th one I put on my list a long time ago, whatever the 4th one is, that's what I'm picking. Okay, number 4 is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. I think I'm going to have a lot of mysteries on this list today. So this one just says mystery thriller. Okay, number 5. 7. Y'all, how is it possible that I have rolled 6 times and every time has been a 7? Well, the good news is I landed on book giveaways, so you guys get a book. I already know which one I'm going to give away. We'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so I rolled a book giveaway. Guys, I'm going to give away Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones. If you have not read the first book, My Heart is a Chainsaw, I will send you that one if you want instead of Don't Fear the Reaper. If you've already read My Heart is a Chainsaw, I will send you Don't Fear the Reaper. So comment below and let me know that you want to enter. You can just say, I want a Stephen Graham Jones book. And then I'll know down there, I need to know which one you want, I guess. Or if you win, then I'll let you know. I'm not spinning the wheel for this until the end of March. So the last day of March, meaning March 31st, I'm spinning the wheel with all the names on it of anybody who wants to enter. So just tell me down below that you want to enter Stephen Graham Jones, and then when we get there, you can tell me which book you want if you win. You can tell me if you want book 1 or book 2. I need you to have Amazon deliverable to your location. So I'm willing to do it anywhere in the world, but I'm going to send you the book from Amazon. So I guess Book Depository also. I just am not going to send you the book from my house to anywhere in the world because I don't want to pay that shipping. But paying shipping from your country, I will do that. So let me know down below. Stephen Graham Jones. They're fantastic. This book was 5 stars. Okay, next roll. Oh my gosh, not only is it not a 7, it's doubles. 12. After the book giveaway, I finally didn't roll a 7, but I rolled doubles, which means we add another book onto our thing. And the 12 that I rolled landed me in jail, which means we add another book. So with the jail that I had earlier, and now this jail and that, we are up to 8 books. So 3 extras so far. We still haven't even gotten to number 6 yet. 2 and another double? Okay, another double. But this moves us around to chest. And what chest means is the next in a series. Okay, for this, continuing, I'm going back to a really old series that I am trying to catch up on, and it's an author who has written, it's romance, but it's an author who's written under 2 different names, and now they have combined them because some of the stories overlap and the time frames and the characters and stuff like that. So anyway, it's from Lexi Blake, and I'm up to number 18 in the combined, which has 40 something books in there. So anyway, it's called Dungeon Royale, and I'm going to be reading that. These are super heavy romance. It's open door. Everything is in there, so don't read them if you don't want to do that. But they always have some kind of secret agent mystery stuff going on, and I really like that part of it. So that's going to be my continuing a series book. Okay, next roll. Oh, 3. At least it's not a double. So I ended up on Netgalley, which is fantastic because I want to read more of my Netgalley books. Okay, so I'm actually going to add 2 books from Netgalley. They're not both from Netgalley. Okay, let me explain. I want to read one of the Netgalley books that is ready for me right now, and it's called The Raven Thief by Gigi Pandian. And I discovered that it's book 2 after I requested it, but I was approved for it, and the first book is Under Lock and Skeleton Key. And I've seen this around and I really want to read it. It's a mystery. I thought that it was middle grade, but it just says that it's an adult mystery. So I'm actually going to add those 2 books onto my list, and I'll just read them back to back so that I can get the Netgalley checked off, but I also want to know what's going on in book 1 before I read book 2. So 2 more books. It's not that big of a deal, right? We only have 8 rolls.
Okay, that's our 5 rolls. So now we've got 2 extras from going to jail and 2 extras from doubles. So we have 4 more rolls to go. Oh, 5.
So I got another set of doubles, and that moves me to the 3, which that means I just go back to my story graph and I pick the 3rd book. I already picked the 4th, now I'm picking the 3rd. And that is a romance called The Wedding Game by Megan Quinn. But we rolled another double, which means we have an extra roll. So now we're up to 9, or 4 extra rolls, 9 total books.
I cannot believe I rolled so many 7s and now I'm rolling so many doubles. Okay, we have 6 books now and we need 10, so I still have 4 more to go. Oh my gosh, really?
Okay, so that is one of the Book of the Month books, and what I do is I have a shelf over here of Book of the Month books, and I just randomly pick 3 of them and I write them in pencil. So here's what we picked. So I landed on this one, Kai. I don't know how to say this, but I feel like I'm going to learn how to say it. This is by Vaishnavi Patel, and it's a Book of the Month book. It's thick, but people have had good things to say about it. So I'm excited about it, and also it's thick. Since I have all of these books, it is scaring me a little bit how thick it is.
I have now rolled 4 sets of doubles. Can y'all see? Y'all can't even see the dice when I'm rolling them, can you? But anyway, okay, I still have 4 more rolls. It's a never-ending game. 10 and no doubles.
Okay, so the 10th roll is a Django pick, and I'm going to just insert that right here. I'm going to pick 3 books from my cart that I really want to read. I'm going to randomly pick them, and then I'm going to put them out with a treat on them and let him go.
Okay, so these are the 3 books that I randomly got off my shelf, and I'm going to go put the treats on them and see what Django picks. I have the treat just above each one of the books, and he's got to walk over the rug and get to the books from my door, which I had to close so that he wouldn't just run directly over there. Okay, here he comes. He has no idea what's going on. He's like, what am I doing in here? Great, Django. Can you find the treat? He's like, don't you have them? They're over here on the floor. Come here. All right, here he comes. Oh, he picked The Martian. Awesome. I'm going to let him have the other one, and then I'm going to give these 2 to the baby girl. Skeeter. Here she comes. There you go. You get 2 treats too, just like Django did. Okay, 3 rolls left. 5, no doubles.
Okay, I landed on Community Chest again, which is continuing another series. And yes, I am going in order. And I'm going in alphabetical order, as you can tell, since the last author was Lexi Blake. And now this author is Lauren Blakely. And it's also romance, and it's also a novella. So it's called Mr. Sexy Pants. So I don't know anything about this, but it's just a novella that fits in with the series. So I'm going to be picking that up.
Okay, for some reason my count was off, but anyway, I have 10 books now on my list, and I have one more roll. Unless it's a double, and it is not. Finally, the game is over with a 9. And there we are.
Okay, So then the very last one takes me to my NPR Books. I'm so glad that I got another NPR book to add. And it's just going to be randomized 2021 under the family section. Okay, so I go to 2021. I go to the Family Matters. There are 117 books here. Pick a number between 1 and 117.
It's 32.
32. 31. 32. The Five Wounds by Kristen Valdez Quaid. Not sure. I will look it up. Oh my gosh. The Five Wounds. Okay, the very beginning of this says, I read this book months ago and I still think about the opening, in which unemployed and floundering Amadeo ponders his role as Jesus in his town's Good Friday procession. He takes the job arguably too seriously. The end result involves a nail gun and a trip to the emergency room. Wow. So, it looks like it's set in New Mexico, Las Piñas, New Mexico. So, fictionalized place. Anyway, that sounds awesome. I'm ready to read it. Okay. So the next thing to talk about is the adventure over here for this year that we're going through. The next thing I do not have an option for, and I will zoom in so we can see what we're looking at. Adrian has to fight a giant, so a book over 500 pages, and I don't know that I have one of those yet. Maybe one of the Stephen Kings that we add in is over 500. I just looked at a couple of them here beside me and they're like 400 and something. So I will have to find a giant. I hope I do not have to add a 500 page book. And then Emmeline has to fight a wizard with a rating over 4.3 stars. So once I put all of my books in Goodreads, hopefully one of those will pop up as being my Goodreads, as being over 4.3 stars, and then that will be satisfied and I won't have to find another book. But this won't be checked off until the end of the month when I go back and see what actually happens, what I actually read. And then April is in Aurelium Academy as we're going to school. So we will have a lot of Aurelium stuff to do during the month of April. But for March, this is all we have to do. We did our January and our February. So this is what we have to do for March. I'm loving this as like a little side thing. I think it's really cute. That is everything. I know it was a lot. I know it took me a long time to edit all those pieces together, but that's the whole thing. And it's still under 15 books. So this is definitely doable for the month of March. I'm going to be taking a couple of trips, which means I'm going to be in the car able to read, relaxing and reading. So I am excited. What I have decided to do, though, also is every week at the beginning of the week on Mondays, I'm going to put all the books that I want to read for the month in a spinner, and I'm going to spin a few books at the beginning of each week, and those are the ones I'm going to focus on for that week. So I'll divide the total number of books I have by the weeks in the month, and then that's how many I'll spin. So that'll be part of my weekly update that I've been doing, so be sure that you check that out. And thank you so much for subscribing. I would just be sitting here with Django and Skeeter as my only audience if you guys were not here. So thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful community. Don't forget to go down in the description and check the Discord. Also, don't forget to go sign up for the Stephen Graham Jones giveaway. Super excited. I'm going to try to remember to mention it every video in March. And I will just see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.